So what I want to talk to you about today is really how do we go about doubling the size of our social media audience. Now, there are many people, brands, sports properties who have their own social media channels, of course, and they work very hard on putting content on their social media channels that is going to be engaging with their audience. The whole raison d'etre and the whole purpose of Sportskred is really whereby we can increase the network that we can use for publishing content. And by doing so, we can now dramatically increase the size of our overall audience. So rather than just thinking about how do I grow my own social media audience, really we can think about how can I include other people within my network to create a much wider audience pool. And this is really what we call our Ambassador Club. So our Ambassador Club means that we are able to have really a megaphone for our club. And that megaphone consists then of who's going to be in the megaphone for us to be posting the content that we want people to post on social media. And that's going to be maybe our athletes, our players, our ambassadors, our VIPs, and our fans. And when we start looking at this, we realize that in fact, there are thousands of people out there who are supporters of what we do as a sports property, who are more than willing to be posting content on their social media on our behalf. And sometimes this may be for reward, but very often not, it's really for recognition. And this enables us to not just reach audiences on our own channels, but reach much larger audiences through the channels of our respective ambassadors. So first and foremost, what is Sportskred? Well, it's a web-based application. The web-based application really is how we access it via desktop, typically laptop, and then a mobile application for all the ambassadors, all the people we're going to invite into our own network. And it's really based upon different levels, different technologies. So one is about audience insights. Audience insights relates to who is the audience of those people I'm going to invite into my platform. I've also got a really key element about innovation is really about campaign management. And we're going to see 4 different types of campaigns, how they are used by sports properties in order to reach and engage those audiences. And the last part of it, which is essential, is to understand what the results of those campaigns. So it's all very good asking people or having people involved in your network to be posting content, but did they really post it? And if they did post it, how effective was it? So we have over time, different levels of engagement. First of all, we've got to create our network. Our network is going to include our fans, our VIPs, our ambassadors, existing ambassadors, maybe our players or athletes into our newly created Ambassador Club. And from there, we can share with them news and updates about what we're doing, maybe about what are some of our sponsors and partners are doing. We can share content with them for them to repost, and we can also request them for content. So that may be typically UGC type of content we might be requesting them. And last but not least, and then very importantly, we then get into the commercial area where we can actually be paying and having a monetary transaction in exchange for posting of content. So membership management really is about how we invite people into our platform. And once they are invited in, they receive an email, and from that, then they download the app, and now they're part of your network. Once they're part of your network, you can get to see, and they also get to see their own audience data. The main areas how we communicate with our ambassadors is in the following ways. So first of all, we have the newsroom. This is where we can share updates about what we're doing. The ambassador will receive that news content, and the ambassador can read that news content, but also at the same time, the ambassador can share that news via a URL. So this news may well be published on websites, and that news can be further shared by the ambassador. And you'll get to see who's read the news and who's shared it as well. The next part is really about content sharing. Content sharing is whereby we can create a campaign. We've got some specific content. Now, for a sports property, this can be highlights of the game. It can be specific moments of the match. It can be celebrations after the game. It could be content around merchandising and ticketing as well. It could be content around many different areas that the club wants people to participate in and wants that content to be widely distributed via the ambassador network or via the ambassador club that you've created. So the individuals receive that content on their mobile phone via the app, and they can share it in a couple of clicks onto chosen social media channels. The next part of it is around how we do a content request. Content request is whereby a brief is created, and that brief is then sent out again to the people we choose from our ambassador club. They create the content, and then you can manage the content within your own content library. And last but not least is around sponsored posts. Sponsored posts are how we can create a campaign again, typically on behalf of one of our partners or sponsors. And this way we can actually be having some payment made to the individuals who are going to be taking part in that campaign. We can select who takes part in the campaign, and we can then afterwards see the results of that campaign, and then payment is made. The key part of Sportskred, and this is one of our key differentiators, apart from actually having all the different functionalities all in one place for doing campaigns, is actually around the branding. So our product then is no longer a Sportskred product, but our product becomes your product. That means the web application is branded entirely to you, but so is the mobile application as well. So it becomes entirely your own operating system for how you can manage social media campaigns at scale across your own network that you've created. It really is one solution all in one place for you, with all the tools you need to make social media campaigning at scale effective, simple, and very manageable. We're now going to move on to the demo part of today's webinar. What we're able to see here is first of all, the dashboard. And here we have created then an environment for Liverpool Football Club. I'm sure you'll all be familiar with them. So within the area here of the demonstration, this is now the dashboard. The dashboard is then where we're able to see recent campaigns, we're able to look at our membership overall, and we're able to understand the effectiveness of what's been going on. Just bear in mind, this is actually a demo area. This is not actually Liverpool Football Club's own use of Sportskred. So this is being created on their behalf. First of all, we're able to connect the social media. So just as we're able to see the details of the social media of all our ambassadors, so we're also able to go and have a look at the social media of the connected account of Liverpool Football Club. And so the very first part of the platform is able to give us tremendous insights into the performance and the audience data of then the rights holder, the sports property itself. So here we're able to look across whether it's Instagram or YouTube or Twitter, whatever we connect to the platform, we're able to understand the audience and see the details of that. We're able to look not just at number of followers, but also the average number of likes, the engagement rate of the followership, the reliability of it, the age and gender split. Not unsurprisingly, it's predominantly male. The location of the audience by country, but also even by city. And we're also able to see the audience brand affinities and the audience interests. So the brand affinities is a key part of it, to understand that if I am looking for additional partners or sponsors, well, what is my audience actually already interested in? So we can do that on behalf of actually the sports property themselves. But also, when we have a look here at the team, we're able to see what the team combined looks like. So in this case, we've included some of the existing players or other personalities that relate to Liverpool Football Club. And within here, we're able to see that immediately there's 11 million people of audience in there, whether it's John Barnes, a former footballer, or Daniel Sturridge, who used to play for Liverpool, for example, or Jamie Carragher, etc. Or even John Bishop. John Bishop is a well-known supporter and fan of Liverpool Football Club as well. So I can look at the overall audience data. And one thing that is striking immediately, if you've happened to notice that, is that when I go from actually Liverpool Football Club, I can see an engagement rate of roughly 0.5%. That means for every post they do, roughly 0.5% of their total followership, it actually gets engaged with that post. When I look at the team overall here, I can see that engagement rate jumps to about 12%. So we know from our research and from the work we do is that the engagement rate of sports properties' own social media is typically around about 0.5%, and that of the ambassadors who join the ambassador club, the individuals, is typically around about 10%. So you get about a 20-fold increase in the overall engagement of the content you're putting out. It's huge. It's simply huge. And that's a key factor about the success of why you want to be creating your own ambassador club. So I can look across different channels that I can connect. When I connect these channels, I do not require people's individual passwords. We only need usernames to do this. When I come to look at the next part, which is setting up the system, it's around the membership manager. So here I'm able to invite people in to join the platform. I'm able to upload people as well. And as long as I know their usernames on their social media, so I can connect them fully into the system. And once I've connected them into the system, I can go and have a look at their audience data as well. So for example, there's a fan base called Liverpool Goals. I can go and have a look at their own audience data on Instagram as well. Okay, so I'm able to see here also the data from all the connected ambassadors as well. Last but not least, I also have sponsors and partners. Sponsors and partners is where I'm going to actually input then the individual sponsors and partners on whose behalf I may well be doing campaigns. So when we talk about original content from the sports property themselves, we're also able to imagine using branded content. And branded content is, of course, an excellent way for revenue for the actual sports property themselves, together with their sponsors and partners. So branded content is content that, when it gets shared at scale, provides an additional income stream for the sports property. What I have down here on the left-hand side here is the additional menu items that relate to the functionality about how I now can create campaigns and how those campaigns can be shared then with the ambassador club, with all the members of the ambassador club. I've just remembered one thing. So whereas I do have a directory here of all my members, I can also put them into groups. Now, groups allows me to manage them a lot better. When I have maybe 10, 20 people within my ambassador club, it's not difficult for me to manage them. But when the number gets greater than that, then I really want to put them into groups. Let me now then move on to how we then go and create campaigns and how we can share content very, very simply to our extended ambassador club or network. The first item here we're looking at is the newsroom. Now the newsroom, as we can see here, I've got 3 drafts here, which I made earlier. So the news item really is about content that I want to keep my ambassador club connected to me as their sports property. And by doing that, I can really republish existing news that I may be publishing anywhere on my website. But very simply, I can then push that news directly to my ambassador club for them to be informed. And the benefits of that are, first of all, you're not expecting them to go to your website to see the news. You're pushing the news directly to them. But also you get to see who's engaged with that news or not. So, for example, if you look at the website of Liverpool today, you'll see that, in fact, Klopp has been nominated to the Manager of the Month for September. Okay, so by creating a news article, I can simply go and edit it as well. So he's nominated for Manager of the Month. It's on behalf of Liverpool Football Club. Now, it could be on behalf of one of your sponsors or partners as well. Okay. We've got a publishing date here, so I can actually do things in advance as well. And here I've got the news to share. So I've got a little bit of content there. And here I can add other files in here. In this case, I'm just adding an image to this news article. That's it. Now, interestingly enough, you can actually vote for Klopp, and the URL is available here. You can actually vote for him, and that's how, in fact, managers get chosen. So you can be pushing this out to your ambassador club and asking them at scale to be voting for Klopp to become Manager of the Month. And here is actually the URL where you need to go and place your vote. Once I've created this short article here, very simply, I go to the next step. And this is where I am then able to choose who I want to receive this content. So I can choose it amongst players, athletes, or ambassadors, or clubs, teams, and groups, or I can do it to all. Now, my name is Victor Steckley, and I'm currently a member of the Ambassador Club of Liverpool Football Club. So when I actually share that with Victor Steckley, or I can just do it to all current and future members as well. So you can see there's a very simple way of how I can share this news article. Once I've done that and I press share news here, I'm just choosing to share to myself in this case. So the news article is now shared, and we go to publish, so it's now being published. And here, down here, I can see here that it's been actually sent to Victor Steckley. Now, what happens when that is the case is that I can see here on my mobile phone, I've received a news article here. It's going to tell me down here, I've received a news from Liverpool Football Club, and here's the caption about Klopp being nominated. There's the picture, and here's the URL that I can then actually be sharing, and that's the URL I want people to actually vote for Klopp being the manager of the month. Once I've actually looked at that news item, me as an ambassador for Liverpool Football Club, right? So the status of that actually now changes within the web application here. And if I refresh my screen, we're going to see that it now shows it being read. So the news I can see is read it. And if I go to share that, so you're going to be able to see that actually I shared that, and I've shared that URL across my different friends or across on my own social media, etc. This is a simple way that we're able to keep engaged the ambassador club that I've created here with all the members inside. I can do as many news articles as I want throughout the day or throughout the week. That's how we do simple sharing of news articles. The next part of it here I'm going to come on to now is what we call Marketing Manager. A Marketing Manager is where we can go and actually share content for reposting. Now, there's a shared art item here already. I'm going to go back to drafts. I'm going to show you then how it works. So if I go to edit this particular campaign brief, so we've got tickets for Liverpool's women's next home game. It's on behalf of Liverpool. We've got a start date and end date of this campaign together with some accurate timing. And here I've got the content I want people to post on their social media. Now that content I'm going to share with them can in fact be individual photographs, or it can also be a video file as well. A typical application for this is when we actually go about sharing highlights of the match that happened, and there's certain time restrictions on that. Otherwise, I can be sharing highlights of the game very soon after the game is finished, provided I have the video editing, but also photographs of the game. And what we certainly know is that people love to see content that is as near as possible to live for them to reshare onto their social media, whether that's the players themselves or whether that's the fans as well. So here I've got a little content, the caption that I want to go with the post. So this is the content for the post. I've got the caption to go with the post as well with some hashtags. And once I've done that, if I go to the next step, so you're going to see it looks very similar to actually how I do the news. But the difference here is that when I've created that content, I'm able then to choose which social media channel I would like that person to share to. So in this case, I've got actually Victor Steckley, and I want him to share perhaps on Instagram. Maybe I want him to share also on LinkedIn the content that I made. What I forgot to show you, if I actually go back here, is that once I've actually got the campaign brief done, and I've also got the content I want to be shared, so I can have a look at the preview. And the preview is going to show me what does that look like, whether it's going to be on Instagram or on Twitter, for example, or on Facebook. So I'm able to see very quickly how that's going to render on the page. And what I noticed straight away is that when it comes to Instagram, it's going to be cropped like that. So I'm going to have to adjust this photograph really to make it look suitable for Instagram posting. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to go to the next step anyway, for the sake of today's demo. And as I saw before, I'm going to choose Victor Steckley, and I'm going to choose him to share it on Instagram, perhaps also on LinkedIn. So once I've done that, I've got one person selected, and from here I can actually share the content. Now, not unsurprisingly, as you can probably imagine, that draft campaign now goes to actually being a shared campaign. If I come back to my mobile phone screen again on this side here, so if I come back to my home, here we're going to actually see that I've got actually an update here of tickets for Liverpool women. So I can see it here on my home screen. Of course, I've got a notification down here, and it says there's a new content share campaign. So when I click on that, it's going to show me that, in fact, this is the content here, and this is the caption of the content. And once I've got that available to me, if I'm happy to go ahead and post it, so I can press share now. If I don't want to post it, fair enough, I can give feedback here. The feedback allows then the people who are in the marketing department, the comms department, and to understand why people may be choosing not to share that content. But assuming that I'm going to go ahead and share it, what happens is that those two icons on Instagram and LinkedIn are available to me, because that's the channels which have been chosen for sharing. And if I press on this, it's going to tell me the image is in my photo library, the caption, hashtags are saved to your clipboard, etc. So I'm happy with that. And once I've done that, then it opens up Instagram for me. And I'm going to put it in my Instagram feed, for example. And there's the content. We knew it wasn't going to render very well. That's not a problem. And from here, I go through the process of posting on my Instagram. And I know the caption's actually in my clipboard. I can edit the caption as I wish to, etc. But this is going to be the post, and from here I can post that. And here we can see that it's actually just finishing up, and there it is posted on my social media. So we're able to post very, very simply onto social media. It works exactly the same for whether it's LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook or TikTok, etc. And what we can see, so it's all very well giving that content someone to share, but what you really want to know is, did that person share it or not? So down here, I've got different statuses of that individual campaign and the people I chose. And here, if you can see on my screen here at the bottom right-hand side, it says pending. Now, if I refresh my screen and come back to this campaign again, so here it is, the tickets for the Liverpool women's home next game, I can see now that it's gone to a yellow status, which means accepted. Now that means that I went through the process of actually sharing that on my social media. But the ultimate one is when it goes green and it says shared. Now the only way you can know if it's been shared or not is by going up to here on the campaign and having a look at the analytics. And what the analytics provides you with is actually the entire campaign, person by person, and actually the status of whether that person has posted that or not on their social media. And you can export all that data by a CSV file. So I hope I've been able to explain to you in detail about some of the functions of Sportskred. What I haven't gone through today is actually how the sponsorship part works, how we can actually do sponsored posts, and how those sponsored posts then are remunerated for the individuals who are part of the Your Ambassador Club. And the other part, which we haven't covered today, is the content request part. I'm more than happy to do that individually with any of you. Please be aware that we currently have a 14-day free trial of the platform where you'll be able to use all those functions. And we're here to help you if you require any assistance when you're setting up for your own free trial.